Well, Steve Sallis, AFC Wimbledon's performance and mindset coach. You've been with us 6 months now. Tell us about your role.
Well, firstly, very grateful to be here. We've been trying to get this interview done for 6 months. That's probably sums up why I haven't spoken to you really, because my role, I'm not obviously in full time. So I'm in on a part-time basis for the club, but I might as well be full-time in terms of the amount of work that I try and get through. A lot of my work has been very strategic. What I mean by that is it's been on the phone to the players and staff on a daily basis. So yeah, just really grateful to support the club and Robbo on that initial basis, because he was the one that has got me here, and just trying to add value to the best of my ability really.
We've seen you before and after games, spending time with players. What do you actually talk to them about?
To be honest with you, I love my language development with players and people that I work with outside of the football industry, but mainly super strengths is, reminding the players what they're brilliant at. People believe that footballers would always know what they're great at, but sometimes they believe or not they forget, and there's a lot of noise. So it's just making sure that they're aware in the four corners: technical, tactical, physical, psychological, what you're brilliant at, and trying to maximise that on a match day.
Do you have to, in a way, break down barriers? Because sometimes there's a bit of scepticism about performance and psychology and that type of thing from years ago. Do you have to see past that in a way?
Yeah, I mean, I get called a sports psychologist in the football industry, but I'm not a sports psychologist. My master's degree was in educational psychology, so a lot of my research methodology is based from education really. But I think the advantage was that I've been a player, albeit non-league, for sort of 15 years, and I think that my ability to articulate that in football speak is probably my advantage. But the key to our work at Wimbledon is having a growth mindset and making sure we're open-minded about new learning. So.
And what type of feedback do you get from players and staff? Have they all bought into it?
Well, you have to ask them that really. I feel very valued here. I think my approach is different. I think my approach is probably more empathetic. I've still got a gear change in me if I need it, but obviously my job is to support Robbo and the staff, not just the players, with creating processes. And then obviously in all the interviews you hear the word process a lot, right? But sometimes we forget that without process and without detail and without technical detail in each other's specific needs in each department, then we're not going to be able to add value to performance. So it's just breaking down the learning process so we can eat this stuff for breakfast really.
We've talked to a few players recently, don't they? I've mentioned you, so it's not just about performance as well, is it also issues away from the pitch that they come and talk to you about?
Yeah, to simplify it for the fans, it's probably two strands: professional, personal. But if I had £1 for every player that came to see me and said, Steve, I'm out of form, and actually through 45 minutes of a conversation we'll find out that they're out of form because of something that's gone on in their personal life. So a lot of my work is around blind spots and making sure we identify those blind spots, and in simple language I say knowing what you know and what you're good at, but also you've got to know what you don't know. So trying to just fill gaps for performance really.
And there was a spell in the spring where we went a number of games without winning, and then it all clicked. But perhaps at that stage now, how important is it this week that we spread positive messages around the place?
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned this off air briefly. I think never too high, never too low. When we came around with the EDGE process, which was something I've developed from my book, but I think I haven't changed, to be honest, Chris. I haven't made any differences to my methodology. Why? Because what we're doing is still right whether we win or we lose. And sometimes if we get obsessed with outcomes, then we lose our way, and I think that's a dangerous place to go for performance.
How much do you take from your own background in this situation? I mean, you've got quite a lot of experience, your own company, and also you were on the Sunderland Till I Die feature talking about one of the players there and getting him turning him round.
Yeah, so I think my main skill set is I was a vice principal in 4 London failing schools, and over time you made them less failing. So anyone that's in education bound, we were special measures schools. So the reason I'm so strategic is when you're vice principal without strategy you're doomed. So a lot of my work, operational, meaning with the players and on the grass, but the key to us being successful as a football club is strategy. We need to make sure we're strategic with our decisions in the short, medium and long term. So my methodology from that comes from education, but also obviously working with, I work with about 20 Premier League players on mindset, away from Wimbledon.
How did that appearance on Sunderland Till I Die come about?
That came through the agent, to be honest. So I work with a lot of the agents, and the agents contact me and say, can you help my players? But what is ironic, I say this to our boys here, is that you've got to want the help. And if you want the help, you're halfway there. And as we know, some people in life want the help and some people don't.
In terms, that was obviously about the Sunderland story, but now you're familiar with the Wimbledon story. how proud are you to be involved in that?
Yeah, it's a massive honour. I mean, on Saturday, my former PE teacher, Andy Marchant, who played for Wimbledon in the 70s, and he moved to Brighton. He's my PE teacher, and he's coming on Saturday. So, yeah, really grateful to that, and yeah, I'm really humbled to be here. I want to thank the fans on the record, because they've been brilliant and really supported us on social media and stuff. And I just want to urge the fans to understand that our team is the youngest in the EFL, and we need their help, rather than hindrance.
And one thing that was noticeable just finally the other day was Mental Health Day, and that stats about 1 in 4 are affected by mental health. You say everyone's got mental health.
Yeah, listen, that wasn't me being rude, by the way. I was just saying that 1 in 4 label, well, no, 4 in 4 people get mental health. The education of it is the scale of where we get mental health. So I think that we need to be mindful that mental health is not just a label, and people that work with me closely know I hate labels.